In March 2009, a Sunday school teacher in Tracy, California, did something that has never been documented in American criminal history. She kidnapped, drugged, and strangled her daughter's 8-year-old playmate, then walked directly into the police investigation and tried to control it from the inside. Let me say that again so it lands properly. The killer didn't run. She didn't hide. She inserted herself as a helpful witness, fabricated evidence, and attempted to steer detectives toward conclusions she had already scripted. What happened next exposed a catastrophic failure in how American communities vet the people we trust most with our children. Melissa Huckaby was 28 years old, studying criminal justice, teaching Sunday school at her grandfather's church. She was, by every measure her community used, a pillar, and that status became her weapon. Here's what most people are missing about this case. At 3:54 in the afternoon on March 27th, surveillance cameras captured Sandra Cantu skipping down the street toward the Huckaby residence. The footage would later become the defining image of this tragedy, an 8-year-old girl in a pink Hello Kitty shirt, alive for the last time on camera. Within 40 minutes of that footage, Huckaby called a park manager to report that someone had stolen a suitcase from her SUV, an Eddie Bauer rolling bag. She wanted it documented. She wanted witnesses, because inside that suitcase was Sandra Cantu's body. Stay with me here because this is where it gets genuinely disturbing. Huckaby had used her own prescription for alprazolam to drug the child, 2 milligrams. She then sexually assaulted Sandra with a rolling pin from the church kitchen before strangling her with a knotted cloth noose. The autopsy would later reveal a lacerated lower lip, elbow abrasions, and genital trauma consistent with the bent handle of that kitchen implement. But Huckaby wasn't finished. As the community mobilized to search for Sandra, as candlelight vigils formed and parents clutched their children tighter, Huckaby attended those vigils. She comforted the grieving, and then she handed investigators a note. The note read, and I'm quoting directly from court documents, quote, "Cantu locked in stolen suitcase, thrown in water on Mbaketi Road and Whitehall Road. Witness," end quote. The misspellings were deliberate. She wanted it to look like someone else had written it. Here's what you need to understand about how this unraveled. Sandra's body hadn't been found yet. The police hadn't announced anything about a suitcase. Huckaby handed over a note describing evidence that only the killer could have known. For those unfamiliar with forensic document analysis, let me explain what happened next. Tracy Police Department investigators ran indentation analysis on the notebook paper. When you write on a notepad, the pressure leaves invisible impressions on pages beneath. They found a distinctive letter N that matched the word thrown. The paper came from Huckaby's own notebook. When detectives confronted her with this evidence during a multi-hour interrogation session, something shifted. The helpful Sunday school teacher, the grieving community member, the concerned neighbor. She invoked her Miranda rights and stopped talking. On April 10, 2009, police arrested Melissa Huckaby for murder. What followed exposed institutional failures that should concern every parent in America. This woman had documented mental health issues, including borderline personality disorder and schizophrenia. She had access to prescription sedatives. She had unsupervised contact with children through her church position. And not a single safeguard caught her. San Joaquin County District Attorney James Willett announced on September 10, 2009, that his office would seek the death penalty. The special circumstances were damning: kidnapping, murder, sexual assault of a child. But on May 10, 2010, Huckaby pleaded guilty to first-degree murder and kidnapping. The deal dropped the rape and lewd acts charges in exchange for avoiding trial. Judge Linda Loftus sentenced her on June 14th to life without the possibility of parole. Sandra's Aunt Angie Chavez addressed the court that day. Quote, The video of her skipping down the street will forever be etched in our minds. Huckaby caused unimaginable pain, end quote. Think about what this case reveals about trust in American institutions. We hand our children to Sunday school teachers because the church has vetted them. We believe communities police themselves. We assume that predators look like predators. Melissa Huckaby taught Sunday school at her grandfather's church. She studied criminal justice. She knew exactly how investigations worked, which is why she tried to run one. This case now serves as a training example for law enforcement nationwide in identifying what criminologists call helper perpetrators, killers who insert themselves into investigations to control information flow. It's a tactic that echoes Watergate-era cover-ups, but had never been documented in American child homicide cases until Tracy, California. Huckaby remains incarcerated today. No appeals, no resentencing, no release date. But the questions her case raised about institutional trust, about church vetting, about the people we allow near our children, those questions have never been answered. Because the most dangerous predator isn't the stranger in the van. It's the pillar of the community who knows exactly how to look like she belongs.